I can safely say that Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite video game franchises of all time. I have played all of the games, except for Unchained Key, but nobody cares about that one. And with Kingdom Hearts 3 vastly approaching, like seriously, it's almost here, I can't believe it, I'd like to detail my experience with the series, with all the games leading up to Kingdom Hearts 3. I hope you enjoy. So, my first experience with Kingdom Hearts 1 was technically when I was 6. I had vague memories about my initial moments with the game, and all I had were questions. Lots and lots of questions. Like, why was this kid falling from the sky? Why is there two of them? Why is freaking Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora here? What the fuck is that? What the fuck was that giant black beast? I hope that's not racist. Anyway, it's like the trippy intro cinematic did not help. It was super overwhelming for 6-year-old me. I think I remember playing up to the point until I got to the cave with the cloaked figure, which at this point we know to be Ansem. Well, Xehanort Heartless. Oh my god. Anyway, I was super intimidated by his presence and I turned the game off immediately. I was a paranoid kid. I mean, I'm still paranoid, but I was even more paranoid back then. Anyway, fast forward a bit, and in my late middle school years, I remember reading the Kingdom Hearts manga. That somehow reignited my interest, I don't know how. Maybe it was because the manga didn't take itself nearly as seriously as the games. I mean, the games are like cheesy as hell. I doubt they take themselves that seriously, but it was still like a somewhat serious tone. It was still a somewhat serious story. So after digging through my old games, I came across my old PS2 copy. And it aged like shit. Whenever I went to a world, it would either just take forever to finish loading or we would just plain freeze. Now, I eventually got the proper Kingdom Hearts experience after I bought the 1.5 remix. It's nowhere near my favorite game in the series, but you can understand at the time when this game came out that it was pretty damn revolutionary. Just wow. The combat was fun as hell, albeit a little repetitive, but flashy summons and magic spells helped ease that. Having this type of crossover between Final Fantasy and Disney was it's still surreal. And I think the main appeal was just going to the worlds that we all knew in Disney as kids, like being able to fight alongside Hercules, Tarzan, Aladdin. It was cool. It was cool to a kid. And of course there were original worlds too. Traverse Town and Hollow Bastion were good worlds, cool worlds to go to. But like you mainly remember the Disney worlds because they had the characters that most people were familiar with, that most people grew up with. So, and I loved how all the worlds were pretty accurate to the movies. The story itself was also pretty interesting at the time. I mean, nowadays it's a total mess, but back then the only threats we knew were the Heartless, Maleficent, and Ansem. That was it. I guess if you think hard enough, the story's still silly, but maybe that's part of Kingdom Hearts' charm. Like you can't have Kingdom Hearts being super realistic and gritty and hardcore. No, that's not Kingdom Hearts, especially with Disney in the mix. Come on. Sora himself, to this day, is also a pretty interesting protagonist. Like, he fits the happy-go-lucky protagonist role, but I don't know, unlike most other characters, he's not like stupid. He's just kind of wistfully naive, and it makes sense because the world he was thrown in, he has questions and he doesn't have all the answers to them. Like his best friend Riku, that he's known all of his life, is suddenly turning on him, trying to fight him. He's keeping Kairi away from him, even though Kairi's heart has been stolen. Sora wants to get that back, but Riku's being a dick. It's like, this kid he's only 14, he doesn't have all the answers, you know? And he's teaming up with a freaking talking duck and a dog. It's also kind of insane just how much was in this game. Like, and even more when Final Mix was released. Like, you had fighting Secret Heartless, fighting the Ice Titan, fighting freaking Sephiroth. Oh my god. Jeez, that guy was a pain in the ass. It's also amazing just how much stuff was set up too, like the unknown boss, that cliffhanger ending, and that flashy as hell after credit cinematic, if you like got all the Xehanort reports or whatever. I mean, I heard that Nomura didn't necessarily have a plan for a sequel, but he also wanted a sequel, so he threw that in there, hoping that it would spark up a reception for a sequel. I mean, it worked. A lot of fans would have been pissed if it didn't, but it worked. Boy, howdy did it work. And I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff in Kingdom Hearts 1, like the gummy ships, fight all those bosses. The combat itself was revolutionary, because I don't know if many other action RPGs had that kind of style that Kingdom Hearts did at the time. And I think even Final Fantasy like eventually adopted that type of gameplay, at least like similar to that. Because I played Final Fantasy 15, and I'm like, you know what, I'm fine with this type of gameplay in a Final Fantasy game. I'd play more Final Fantasy games like this. Yeah. Like, in conclusion, basically, this was the game that got me to know all the Final Fantasy characters, at least most of the characters in Final Fantasy VII, at least. And I think my life would be pretty significantly different without playing it. So I'm thankful that I went back for it. I'm thankful that I got 1.5 and played it, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy that I enjoyed that experience. Oh my god, Chain of Memories. Where do I even begin? First off, I hate the card gimmick. I hate the card gimmick. You'll see in this gameplay that I cannot do the card gimmick. It's not bad, it's interesting. It's just I don't like it. I don't know, the card gimmick it requires patience and timing and strategy, and I'm just not good at those. Chain of Memories might be my least favorite Kingdom Hearts game in the series. This is beginner. You'll see later on, I am in beginner mode fighting Ansem, and I am getting my ass handed to me. Granted, it's mainly because I haven't picked up the game in years, but just, oh man. So starting off, the game plays similar to your traditional RPG. You get not turn-based combat, but not exactly free-based combat either. You're in an enclosed space. Whenever you fight an enemy, you go into a little battle animation, all that crap. And you just do cards. Whoever has the higher card gets to break that card, and then gets to use that card regardless. I know people can cheese the game with slights and all that other stuff, and I have done that to win before, but this doesn't make it fun. Recoded Memories is short. It's basically Kingdom Hearts diet. Like, if you've played Kingdom Hearts, this is basically just Kingdom Hearts 1 again, but without any cutscenes, at least not without as much cutscenes as before. And you're just getting to the story parts in Castle Oblivion. Castle Oblivion is an interesting concept. It is a very interesting concept. Like, Sora and Goofy, after they've stayed behind to save Riku and the King, like traveling whatever patch of land the heck that was at the end of the game in the first one, they were led off by this cloaked figure, and now they're in Castle Oblivion. And each time they get higher and higher to find answers, they lose their memories in junk in order to remember some other stuff that honestly probably wasn't even there to begin with, like Naminé, for instance. Now, Chain of Memories story is not bad. The characters are not bad. This is like the first time we could see the organization. Like, we'd see Marluxia, Larxene, Axel, fan favorite Axel, Lexius, Zexion, and all those people. And this is also, I'm pretty sure, the first game where we're actually able to play as Riku in his own story. Again, like, Chain of Memories is not a bad game. It just, I hate this one specific gimmick, and I'm just not good at it. I really am not. I've heard people say that Chain of Memories is a pretty decently good game. They like the card gimmick. It's interesting, and good for them. I'm not one of those people. I can't play this game and have fun with it without at least some form of help or guide or something, because oh man, it was not fun playing Chain of Memories. I wanted to get through this game as fast as possible when I first picked it up, and I was gonna send it back when my dad got it for me. I asked him to get me Kingdom Hearts 2, but he got me this instead because he probably couldn't find it anywhere. I didn't want to be an ungrateful kid and just say, no, this isn't the game I wanted, Dad. Go back to the store and give me something better. No, I wanted to give it a shot. I gave it a shot. I didn't like it, and we ended up just sending it back to GameStop at the time so I could trade it in for Kingdom Hearts. And that's how I got Kingdom Hearts 2. But we'll get to that in a second. Basically, Chain of Memories is not a terrible game. I just don't have fun playing it as much as the others. And I'm glad it's the only Kingdom Hearts game that has this type of gimmick, because I probably would have dropped the series heavy if they kept up this car gimmick. I mean, it kind of made a return in form in Dream Drop Distance, but that was only in like the Dream Eater battles, and it wasn't as frustrating there as it was in this game. There wasn't really that much strategy to it either, but still. But that's pretty much all I have to say about Chain of Memories. Like, I'm getting wrecked by Ansem. I just can't deal with this game. I'm sorry to anybody that likes Chain of Memories. If it's your favorite game in the franchise, let me know why. I really want to know why. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about Chain of Memories. Alright, the big one. Kingdom Hearts 2 is hands down my favorite Kingdom Hearts game in the series at this point in time. Kingdom Hearts 3, as of now, is not out yet, so that might be subject to change, but right now, it's my favorite. And for good reason. Everything that Kingdom Hearts 1 had, Kingdom Hearts 2 took and improved significantly. Drive forms, limits, reaction commands. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, it makes the game too easy. It's flashy as hell, and I love that. So many of the boss fights in this game had reaction commands, and I loved almost every one of them. Sure, there's like a few that are annoying, like Demex and maybe the organization data battles. Those are annoying, but challenging. So it went all in with this game, man. Like, the gameplay was touched up. They moved the camera back so it wasn't like in your way all the time. The combat was significantly better. Like, summons and other crap, magic, all that other stuff. Reflect was OP as hell, but it saved my ass so many goddamn times. And the number of worlds we got to go through, Pirates of the Caribbean, being a lion in Pride Lands, going to freaking Tron. I didn't even know what Tron was when I was playing this game. Oh my god, it's just, oh man. And you're gonna sit here and tell me this is a PS2 game? This game was on the PlayStation 2? Oh my god. I'm sorry I'm gushing so much. It's just, Kingdom Hearts 2 improved significantly. This is what you call a sequel. This is like a bomb-ass sequel. Got introduced to a whole new slew of characters. Like, playing as Roxas for the first, I don't know, hour was definitely the weirdest tutorial ever, because we get to know this kid for that whole week, and then all of a sudden he's just tossed aside. He was like, yeah, you're a nobody of Sora. Sorry, bro, you were never supposed to exist. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, damn. And then the title screen pops up and it's like, oh my god, there's so much to get to. I spent an hour on a tutorial. You can argue whether or not that's good game design or not. I don't really care. Basically, there is a lot to this game. So much. It's crazy. And there's even more in Final Mix. Just like Kingdom Hearts 1, there's a Final Mix version of Kingdom Hearts 2 with extra bosses, like the data battles. That's in Final Mix. I think there was some extra Heartless too. And like there's an extra way to get the ultimate weapon. I can't remember if it was easier or not. I'm pretty sure the actual fight with Roxas is also in Final Mix as well. So seriously, man, the differences in Kingdom Hearts 2 are significant. I mean, Sephiroth is in both versions. I don't know if he's easier than his Kingdom Hearts 1 counterpart. I can't remember. It's been a while since I fought Sephiroth. But you guys can debate that. It's just Kingdom Hearts 2 there's so much in it, and I love it. I played the mess out of this game when I got it, because when I got Kingdom Hearts 2 after trading in Chain of Memories, I was like, oh, this is the Kingdom Hearts game that I wanted, because I remember watching YouTube videos like the 1000 Heartless boss fight. I watched that on YouTube, and I was like, I gotta get this game. If not for like for like me reading the manga, I gotta get it for that Heartless fight. Fighting 1,000 enemies all at once. Like, I know it's not all at once, they gotta load in obviously, but that 1,000 Heartless bars, that well, 1,000 Heartless boss, I'm keeping that in. That 1,000 Heartless boss fight was insane, and if there's gonna be something similar to that in Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm assuming, because of that one trailer. But I apologize for gushing so much about Kingdom Hearts 2. It's just there's so much of this game. It's a really good game, and if you haven't played it yet, go play it. Go play it. Just, what are you sitting here around for? Go play it. Damn. Okay, so great story, pretty meh game. If you were one of the people that played 358 over 2 days on the DS, you probably didn't have the most fun experience. And it's understandable. The game looks ugh. And again, it's understandable. It's on the DS. It's not really a powerful system. Although, why the DS? Like, I get they wanted to do some sort of multiplayer thing, but guys, come on. Anyway, 358 over 2 days is more mission-based rather than adventure or whatever. Like, you were going back to worlds that you had already been to multiple times, doing slightly different stuff, sometimes the same stuff, and it got old fast for me. It got old really fast for me. Like, I don't think I remember beating it, honestly. I remember buying it, but I think it was used, and there was like already a completed save file with everything on it, and I was lucky as hell to have that because I was able to keep up with the story that way. And basically 358 over 2 days is just, it's my second least favorite Kingdom Hearts game, but it has probably the most gut-wrenching story because it tells Roxas's perspective of things. It tells, quote-unquote, the enemy's perspective of everything. Like, we know more about the nobodies than ever because of this game. Like, we know we kind of knew a little bit why in Kingdom Hearts 3, why they were doing the things they do, but it's given further context, and like, we're in the enemy's shoes. Like, we know where their base is, we know how their lifestyle is, we know what they do during their time, all that stuff. And the thing about Roxas is that he's kind of like anti-Sora. Not anti-Sora, but like the opposite of Sora in personality. Like, Sora is happy-go-lucky. He is eager, he is fun, he's always got a positive personality. Roxas, he's like gloom and doom most of the time. And it's mainly because I think it's because he's brought up in this organization. He's got he knows nothing about himself. He doesn't even know if he's supposed to even like exist in the first place. And I think the only thing that's keeping him centered and grounded is Axel and the new member that we see in this game, Xion. Xion is basically like Foxus in a way, in more ways than just personality, but it's you can see that there is a connection there that that interests both of them. They're like, cool, we're nobodies, but we like the same stuff, and even though we don't have hearts, we can still feel somehow. Xion in particular is also quite interesting because we find out pretty early on that she's able to wield a Keyblade of her own, and that's interesting because originally, lucky number 13, Roxas was the only person that was able to do that. That's what the organization was waiting for. So now that we got two Keyblade wielders, it's double good for the organization because they can elect more hearts. I am speaking way too fast. They can collect more hearts that way. And of course, we find out later on that Xion is basically just a nobody replica of Sora's memories. And apparently they're like Sora's memories of Kairi, and that's why Xion looks the way she does. But it's also weird because like only Roxas and eventually Axel can truly see what Xion looks like under her hood. and most people that see Xion under the hood see different people. Like, I think Zigbar at one point saw Xion looked like Ventus, and that was interesting. I don't know if that was like in the original game itself, but it's in the movie. And that's another thing. They remastered like all the cutscenes from the game in the movie. I'm not saying maybe not all of them, but I'm grateful for that, because I probably would not play through all of 358 over 2 days. It's very time consuming. It's a very long game that has you doing most of the same stuff over and over again. And I think Square Enix saw that, you know what, people are just not really gonna play this game. Let's just make a movie out of it. Let's just get them caught up with the story. And 358 over 2 days is just that. It's a game with a good story, but pretty meh game, at least in my opinion. That's how I see it. It's got a gut-wrenching story. It's really sad, because at the end, that ending, it feels really, man. I mean, it's completely ruined when Roxas says,
"Who else will I have ice cream with?"
That, but you know, Kingdom Hearts. So I don't hate 358 over 2 days. It's definitely my least favorite. It's definitely my second least favorite, honestly, because I just don't have any reason to go back and play the DS version at all, because the story is like the main thing you get out of it. Like, to people that like the game, no, good on you. It's just I'm not a fan of just a mission-based structure that requires me to do a specific task over and over and over again. I know I play Xenoverse, but it's different here because, you know, there's an actual pretty damn good story to it and you want to get through it, but it's kind of hard to do that when most of the games are just you doing a mission, going back home, eating ice cream. So many scenes of eating ice cream. It's ridiculous. So I have no reason to go back to the DS version. There's a movie that explains everything. I watched the movie. It's good. It's a good alternative to people that don't feel like playing the game. So good on you on that part, Square Enix. Birth by Sleep is probably my second favorite game in the franchise. And I think it's mainly because you're able to play as 3 Keyblade builders instead of just one this time around. Terra, Aqua, and Ventus all have their own stories with their own adventures and their own bosses. And just like 358 over 2 days, it's also has a gut-wrenching story with a pretty tragic ending. Now, Birth by Sleep's combat, I've heard complaints of it being a lot floatier than the core games in the series. And I can understand why people aren't like into that, because it is very floaty, it is very slower compared to the previous games. And when you're comparing characters, there are some characters that are just better than others. Like Ventus and Aqua have the cartwheel and the dodge roll feature, while Terra just only has the dash, which leaves them significantly vulnerable in most boss battle situations, especially since the secret bosses in these games are incredibly bullshit. Like, it's insane how fast and unrelenting the mysterious figure is in this game. I've never fought him because I've heard horror stories. I've seen gameplay of him, and I do not want to deal with that shit because I knew I would not beat that shit anytime soon. One thing I do like about Birth by Sleep is it did make the combat a little bit faster in some areas, like casting magic and other types of attacks with a quick command. And then you have the shot locks, got D-links and all that other stuff that make you even more badass. You're able to upgrade your own finishers. You're able to go into many drive states. They're not really called drives, I think they're called surges. And that's all cool and all. I guess it can be a little repetitive, but it's still pretty flashy and cool, and I like it. The worlds this time around were also pretty decent, but it's also kind of like dwindled because all the worlds you go to, you're gonna end up going to 3 times. At least like with each character. So I guess it kind of diminishes the experience of being, oh man, this world's so cool, but then it's like, oh, I gotta go back here, and then you realize this world's probably not as cool as you thought, or there's going to be some specific part that you're gonna hate in one world compared to what you played in the last one. So this being a prequel game, it takes place before Sora and the Heartless and everything. It's basically like an origin setup for the characters that we'll see in Kingdom Hearts 1, but it's also telling the stories of these three Keyblade masters that basically that we saw at the ending cinematic in Kingdom Hearts 2. That's basically what it was building up to. Remember back then when we all thought, oh man, this is gonna be what Kingdom Hearts 3 is like. This is what Kingdom Hearts 3 is. Or no, it just turned out precisely just a prequel. And we'd have to wait quite a while before Kingdom Hearts 3 was even announced. And even longer before it get in development, so yeah. Setups and other stuff like of what's to come and what will happen in the future, basically. It's a foretelling. It's a telling of a story of the three Keyblade wielders that met their demise at the Keyblade graveyard, just like every other Keyblade master, and it's up to Sora to basically be the one to save them. And the game also foreshadows other characters that we'll eventually see, like certain organization members that are young, that haven't become nobodies yet. We see Xehanort in his, I wouldn't say prime, but it's his prime state. It's the Xehanort that pretty much kicked off all of the events that are leading to Kingdom Hearts 3 right now. And that's interesting. So basically we get to see like the true form of the main antagonist. Other than that, I feel like that's all I really gotta say about Birth by Sleep. It's a good game. I have floaty combat and all. I liked all the twists and turns that were in the story, and it's nice to have a game that's not always about Sora. Like, I do like my games that have the main protagonist in it, but it's always nice to have a story that isn't focused on the main character. You can focus it on like other characters that are in this timeline or the story, you know? Yeah. Okay, so you know how I said 358 over 2 days was a meh game, but with a good story? Recoded is just a very meh game. Like, it's just Kingdom Hearts and Chain of Memories again, but this time with gameplay gimmicks. Oh, and they're in a journal or something. The story in Recoded is very lackluster. It's so forgettable, man. Like, the game itself didn't even need to exist. It was just there for filler until, I don't know, the next chapter is awaiting. Because this is technically the first Kingdom Hearts game that takes place after Kingdom Hearts 2. Technically. But it contributes so little that it might as well not exist. I barely remember playing the game. I don't remember hating it. I don't remember loving it. It's just that rare in between where it's a Kingdom Hearts game that you don't necessarily need to play. The thing about Chain of Memories is you still need to play some of Chain of Memories to understand what's going on in Kingdom Hearts 2. You still need to know what's going on in 358 over 2 days to understand Roxas's whole deal. Coded just sets up shit that basically gets covered in Dream Drop Distance later on. Like, Dream Drop Distance completely nullifies Coded's entire reason for living. And the different gameplay gimmicks were interesting, but that's just what they are, gameplay gimmicks. It was an interesting concept for a Kingdom Hearts game, but at the same time, it didn't necessarily need to be it didn't need to be made, or it didn't even necessarily need to be played. That's my feelings on Recoded. I really can't remember much about this game. I know there's a movie about it too, and thank God for that, because I would skip Recoded hard if they made a full game out of it. Like, even the movie's kind of lackluster to watch. Like, it's just scenes with Donald, Goofy, Mickey, and all that other stuff, with scenes of Sora doing the same thing that he's always been doing, except this time it's less engaging because it's in a book, and there's data now. And this isn't the Sora that we know because it's just data Sora. So nothing is really lost if he gets destroyed or anything. It's just data. Nothing matters in Recoded. At least To me, I know maybe some people find that it matters, but I don't, and I just don't feel this game. I'm not feeling it. I know it began as a mobile game, I think, maybe. I don't know. That's just what Recoded is. It's very forgettable. Dream Drop Distance is a very controversial game. I have a very love-hate relationship. I like the fact that it's better than Recoded, and there's a lot more story after Kingdom Hearts 2. What I don't like about it is that it fucks with the story in a way that it's almost like jumping the shark. It's like Kingdom Hearts has always been kind of convoluted. Dream Drop Distance was what really solidified its stance on being convoluted. Like, I've always been able to follow the story of Kingdom Hearts somewhat. I was able to understand most things. But when it got to time travel, and going back in time, sleeping worlds, I was like, what? Wait, what? Like, we're going to sleeping worlds in order to wake them up, but I thought we sealed those worlds, and I thought the worlds were... This was the game where I started to kind of lose grasp with the story a bit. Now, the story is still decent. Don't get me wrong, it's still pretty damn good. Like having a bunch of Xehanorts actually be the true Organization 13, having Xigbar actually not be dead, seeing all these past Organization team members come back, especially with these trailers in Kingdom Hearts 3. It was interesting. It was like, oh my god, this was just a backup plan. This was Xehanort's real plan all along. Granted, I think it's kind of an ass-pull, but it's an interesting ass-pull that leads into Kingdom Hearts 3, believably. Play as Sora and Riku this time around, which I really liked. I'm always down to play for more Riku. And they also included flow motion this time. Flow motion is a very broken gimmick, but it can be toggled off and you don't have to use it, which I like. What I don't like is the drop system. Being forced to switch between characters can be annoying. And there are items to reduce the drop rate, there are items to increase your drop gauge, that way you don't drop as frequently. But at some point in time, you're gonna drop, and if you drop in the middle of a boss, well, guess what? You gotta refight that boss. It's a pain in the ass. It can be dealt with, but it's still a pain in the ass. And of course, being a Kingdom Hearts game, you got your standard worlds, like you got the Hunchback of Notre Dame, you got the Tron Legacy, I think it was. I don't remember. And you also got the Three Musketeers and a bunch of other worlds, like Fantasia. That was an interesting world. And honestly, the only real new character around this time is young Xehanort. And of course, you got Anthem and Xehanort coming back, which raised so many questions. What the fuck? I thought we took you guys down. It's like, nope. Time travel, bitch. We gather in our own team of dark Xehanorts, and we're gonna take down your team of light Keyblade wielders. And it's like, Dream Drop Distance was basically just a hype of Kingdom Hearts 3, basically. It's another setup game, but at least the game is fun to play. You also had Dream Meters with basically just Pokemon, and they were alright. I don't really need to say much about them. They're alright. It's nice to have a cute pet on your journey. I'm pretty sure people often don't like the game because of Balloonra. I've heard that Balloonra is super powerful, super OP, and can wreck bosses like that. But you know, it's bound to happen in Kingdom Hearts games. There's always something OP, some OP strat, and some OP thing that gets you by when it comes to a tough boss or something. And some of the boss fights, and especially the music in this game, is like, well, Kingdom Hearts games have always had good music. I remember Dream Drop Distance having especially good remixes of Xemnas' theme, Anthem's theme, and Young Xehanort's theme, which is basically a play on the mysterious figure from Birth by Sleep. So now we know the identity of the person that we were fighting in Birth by Sleep. Again, Dream Drop Distance is not a bad game. It's another filler game before we get to the game that we all want to see, which is Kingdom Hearts 3. But, you know, it's still important to the story. It's still something that you need to get through in order to understand what's going to happen in Kingdom Hearts 3. And This was the mark of mastery exam for both Riku and Sora, and Riku ended up passing. Finally, like, getting past that whole redemption arc of he had always had a redemption arc, but he had still felt completely bad about turning on Sora way back in Kingdom Hearts 1. Like, he still felt he needed to atone for his sins in the past, and the mark of mastery exam was a good way to do that. And that was major character development for Riku there, and I like that. I like when not just the main character gets character development, so that's cool. And let's not forget some of the ending notes in Drained Up Distance. Like, we ended with Axel getting a Keyblade. We ended with Kairi being revealed to be another Keyblade wielder. Like, we had had signs of that in Kingdom Hearts 2, but it was never really touched upon since. So I'm glad that's happening. And with the recent trailers of Kingdom Hearts 3, and she's going to be fighting alongside us, along with Axel, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be insane. I'm going to love it. Man, Dream Drop Distance, like, say what you want about it. It definitely set up the hype for Kingdom Hearts 3 hard. Real hard. Okay, so, best glorified demo ever. Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage is a ridiculously long name for a demo. But if this was like the thing they gave us a taste of what Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be like, and it's great. It's really great. It's like so much of the stuff from Birth by Sleep is there, but you could also tell that some of the stuff that will be in Kingdom Hearts 3 is also there. Being able to cast magic while running, like having just the short hops when you're going over ledges, the small details when you're running down a steep cliff and you just slide down automatically. Aqua runs slightly faster when you're just holding in the same direction. The dramatic camera shifts, the little added effects on the Heartless whenever you use magic on them. The Heartless themselves, it's so good. Sure, the combat's still a little floaty, but I mean, I played Birth by Sleep a number of times to get used to it. I'm not sure how everybody else feels about it, but I don't think it's going to be too much. I'm not sure if it's going to be in Kingdom Hearts 3, but we'll see. And on top of that, we also get another mini story further detailing Aqua's time within the Dark Realm. Like, we already saw that with the secret episode of Birth by Sleep, but this is just like, I guess, an expansion upon that. And we've come to realize that she's been in this Dark Realm for years. Like, just like this is the beginning of the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. We figure out that Aqua's been in here way longer than anticipated. And we can see that it's starting to get to her. Like, she's starting to feel down, she's starting to feel depressed, losing hope and all that. It's tragic. It's like, and it just furthers the need that we have to save her in Kingdom Hearts 3. Of course, there isn't too much for me to say about Fragmentary Passage that hasn't already been said by many people before. It's still short, it's still a glorified demo, but man, it's definitely worth checking out, at least if you want just a taste of what Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be like. And supposedly Kingdom Hearts 3 is supposed to be even better than what we get here. So, again, there's no new characters this time around. It's mainly just Aqua. Mickey does show up eventually later on, which kicks off, again, the beginning of the ending of Kingdom Hearts 1. And it even explains how he lost his costume and how he's just like in his pants at the end of that end cutscene. They didn't have to do that, but I guess they felt they needed to explain why Mickey was dressed the way he was at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. Oh well. And as far as the bosses go, we just fight like familiar bosses like Darkseid again. We fight the Demon Tower, which is basically just a swarm of Heartless. I think it was called Demon Storm, which is basically just a bigger swarm of Heartless. The bosses weren't uncreative, but they were also just kind of like, it's just, yeah, an enemy that we fought before, except there's more of them, or it's just an enemy we fought before. I think the one that was really interesting was fighting Aqua's reflection, which is basically like, I guess, a reflection of Aqua's darkest thoughts and the darkness trying to take a hold of her or trying to psych her out or whatever. I think there's also like a secret, stronger, powerful version of her that you can fight. I haven't fought it. People have said it's bullshit. I don't know. Like again, Fragmentary Passage is basically just another setup game, but it's more than just giving us a taste in story, it's giving us a taste in gameplay too, like showing us, yeah, there's stuff in Kingdom Hearts 3 that you're gonna be excited for, but check out this gameplay, I guess is what, that's what I get out of it. Speaking personally, I personally don't think it's a waste of time, but it depends on the person. Like, I like Aqua, I like her character, and I like seeing more adventures with her. I'm personally interested in seeing how we're going to save Aqua in Kingdom Hearts 3, and how she became the way she was. Because at the end, she met Ansem the Wise in the Realm of Darkness, so it's like, how did she become the way she was now in Kingdom Hearts 3, and what happened in between this and the events that are leading up to it. All in all, I think Fragmentary Passage served its purpose right. It's a glorified demo. I wouldn't consider it a full-fledged game, but it's still something you'd want to experience if you're planning on buying Kingdom Hearts 3. Do I even need to still say anything about this? I mean, it's technically a game, a mobile phone game, but it's also a movie that's just telling the events of before the Keyblade War. It's confusing. So, Unchained Key is essentially just Kingdom Hearts 0, telling the events before the Keyblade War. It's before Birth by Sleep, it's before Kingdom Hearts 1, it's before all the Kingdom Hearts games, it's the very, very first in the beginning of the timeline. Its only real purpose, honestly, is just to serve as more lore to the Kingdom Hearts story, but again, there's a specific item in that story that will take place in Kingdom Hearts 3, so you still gotta watch it in order to figure out what's going on. Now, at the very least, the movie's nowhere near as long as to be played for 2 days or Recoded. It's only like an hour long. It's supposed to detail the Master of Masters, who is like this master Keyblade welder or something. I freaking love him. He's hilarious. Like, he is the guy that he supposedly knows everything that's going to happen, and he's supposed to know that one day he's gonna disappear, and that all the factions that are in this realm or world or whatever are going to be divided, and there's going to be a Keyblade War, and darkness will fall onto the land, and there's nothing that anybody can do about it. Now, his 5 Keyblade servants, masters, whatever, the people that serve under him, are trying to do whatever they can to keep it from happening, and he thinks it's futile because, well, let's face it, he's the Master of Masters, he sees all. But they want to change it no matter what, or do whatever it takes to change it. And, personal squabbles happen here and there. It's another tragic story. They end up turning on each other. There's conflict and all the other jazz. It's basically just leading to the Keyblade War. And that's essentially like what the Master of Masters, I think that's what the Master of Masters' whole thing was. Like, if he told them about it, then that's what would set the events forward. I think he also told them there was a traitor in their midst or something, that you shouldn't trust the deceiver. And again, that's what leads to further squabbles and further distrust, and again, what's pushing forward to the Keyblade War. I don't particularly hate this movie, but I find little reason to care outside of the freaking box that's in the movie itself. Like, the box is obviously an important detail because we saw it in the trailer, and it's obviously going to play an important role. I'm hoping, at least. This is a freaking box now. It's always a freaking box. And I basically just found, like, very little reason to care about the characters in this movie if we all know what's gonna happen to them. I mean, maybe they'll show up in Kingdom Hearts 3, maybe, but like, we know that the Keyblade War happened, we know that the box is important somehow, it'll come in a row. Who was that cloaked figure? I think his name was Luciu or something. Who was he? What's with the Keyblade that the Master of Masters had? Why is his eye in there, and why does Xehanort have it in Birth by Sleep? It's very interesting, and it's like, it's not something that you necessarily need to watch in order to understand what's going on, but it's still at least important enough that you would like to check it out. Honestly, to me, I think the movie just serves as a way to get people to know about Kingdom Hearts Key without them having to play the mobile phone game, because God, I did not play the mobile phone game, I'll tell you that. And that's pretty much it. Like, this was a very rushed video. I didn't really think this through. I just wanted to get something out Kingdom Hearts related before Kingdom Hearts 2 was finally upon us. Like, I am so ready. My body is ready. I am so ready for this game. I can't wait. I apologize for the video being so long. I did not anticipate it being that long, but I also like kind of forgot just how many Kingdom Hearts games are technically important to the story. But hey, at least this will be like the last one. At least in the Xehanort saga. I don't know if there's gonna be more Kingdom Hearts after that. Maybe. But if you managed to watch this incredibly long tirade of me rambling on about my history with Kingdom Hearts, I appreciate that. Your time is valuable, and I appreciate that you wasted time on my video. Wait, that sounds wrong. Anyway, hopefully you get Kingdom Hearts 3 as well. I hope you enjoy it. I know I am, so cheers.